What's up, everybody? I'm Scott.
I'm Jason.
And welcome to Liquid Kernedge.
Nice to see you, buddy.
Hey, man, it's been like 2 weeks.
I know. We've had some busy stuff going on. We've had a wedding.
Yeah. One of our closest friends got married. Holiday weekends.
We just had the amazing start of the NFL football season.
Oh, my God. It feels like home again. I can't wait. I love it.
So good times. Good times had by all.
How you been, my friend?
I've been okay. I've been like you, though. I've been struggling just kind of getting things lined up with vacations and the whole football thing starting, and kudos to my Rams. They had a good game one.
They did, man. You guys won it over. You played the Colts. That's kind of lowly.
They're not going to go winless.
And you know what? I'm not throwing the towel for the Cardinals just yet. We lost David Johnson, but you know what? We're going to be just fine.
All right.
We're going to be all right. Running back by committee.
I think we'll be okay.
I admit, man, I miss recording. It's been a couple weeks, and I miss having this cathartic process with you.
Well, it was nice, though, to have our friend. He got married.
Yes.
Got us back to the hope of what marriage can bring. So that was kind of exciting. Shout out to
it brought back some nostalgia.
Yeah.
Some nostalgia.
Yeah.
And, you learn so many things through this. And a friend of ours that came to the wedding brought a date for the wedding. That's really kind of spurred on today's conversation, today's topic. She had a gentleman come up from the great city of Phoenix to be her date for the evening, and which is cool. And as of this past weekend, they have now gone. It's not Facebook official, which we have an episode on.
We do have an episode on. But what is Facebook?
They are officially official, and it's cool because she deserves this. She's been working toward this for a long time. It's nice. This is a good dude. But I was telling her beforehand, it's like, if you're going to do this, understand that long distance relationships are hard.
They are difficult.
They're very, and this is speaking from firsthand experience. I've been there. I've done that. And it's a commitment, man. So I thought that would be a great topic today. Let's talk about long-distance relationships.
I think I'm safe to say that the majority of us who are listening to the podcast have been in a long-distance relationship at some time in their life. Maybe not recently, but they have been in one. And all of us have horror stories and good stories about a long-distance relationship.
Right? And I'll be honest, man. One of the best relationships in my life started off as a long distance relationship, and we did long distance for a year, and it was rough.
Why were you guys long distance?
She lived in Phoenix.
No, I mean, how did you meet her? How would you know?
I met her online.
Oh, okay, online. Okay.
Yeah, I met her online.
And that's kind of a more common theme.
It is.
Nowadays.
As time goes on, I think online dating, it makes it easier to connect with people that you never would have thought of before.
Right.
Long gone are the days where you put an ad in a paper and hopefully someone finds it and replies to it. There's a little bit more to it these days. Okay. Algorithms and whatnot.
Okay. Okay, but you met her online and started just talking, I would assume, right? Just talking.
And everything starts us as talking. We started talking, and then we met, and then we really hit it off from day one, from square one. And I don't know if either of us ever thought it would turn into what it did, but it just kind of did. Like, she would come up here, I would go down to Phoenix, and it ended up being like we'd alternate weekends, going back and forth. And then I remember she came up one weekend early on. And we were sitting in Starbucks, and she asked what we were, and I said, we are what we are. Typical guy answer.
It is what it is, buddy.
It is what it is. And she asked what we were, and it was still early on in the relationship to where I wasn't dating anybody else, and I was comfortable not dating anybody else. I just wanted to date her, and we just kind of started going from there, and it built and it grew, and we dated till Christmas. Broke up for a short time because it got too hard, but I'd like to think that we came to our senses, after the first of the year and rebuilt everything. And she ended up moving up here. We lived together for 2 years, and but it was hard. That long distance was hard, man. It was every night making that commitment to having a FaceTime, conversation, to checking in, to making sure that I'm okay going home, because you guys were out having a good time some nights. I'd go home and I'd FaceTime her, and I would have the conversation, do my daily check-ins. It's a responsibility. It's harder than most people expect.
And that's the other thing, is when you add in the fact that I don't really know you too well. I know I'm starting to get to know you, but I don't know you too well. Making commitments for a long distance relationship with someone that you're not going to see all the time and you're not going to be able to hang out with and talk to adds an additional pressure that being in the same town, for example, is not part of the relationship. So one of the things that I think would be difficult in a long-term relationship with someone that you've never met before,
absolutely,
is that everything has to be appreciated for the moments you do spend together, and not dwell on the fact that 5 days out of the week, or every, 1 weekend every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you guys are going to see each other.
Exactly. You have to be patient, understand the process. But, we went into it not knowing if there's an end game. We went into it not knowing if there was going to be a point in time where we were going to actually be in the same city, same zip code, what have you, a 10-minute drive away from each other. We essentially did the first year with a wing and a prayer. It wasn't until we had that discussion, 11 months into it, that what exactly are we doing? And, if we want to take this to another level, what are we going to do, and how are we going to do this?
Well, and I imagine that in the beginning, it's just exciting. It's fun. It's something new. Oh, I'm going to go to this town and hang out, and I cannot be myself for a little bit, and it's okay because we're doing this long distance.
Absolutely.
So that is kind of an exciting time, and it's fun, and then you for guys, at least for some guys, then you get to go home. And you get to be relaxed, and you don't have to worry about answering to someone still. But you have the fun, and in the beginning, that's awesome. That's a really fun feeling.
But after a while, though, when you leave, you miss that person being there. You miss having that someone there when you're trying to unwind at night, and then
the weekends get a little shorter.
They do.
Like you spend the weekends, like the weekend's already over. I have to leave again.
Yeah. No,
well, maybe I can get up at 2:00 in the morning, first work day, and I'll just leave.
You find ways to do it, and it's hard, man. And you're going through a very similar situation right now.
Yeah,
Noreen has taken a job in Phoenix, and she is living down in Phoenix. You were up here.
Yep.
And you are essentially commuting every week. You spend your work week up here and your weekends down there.
Yeah, I know that she came for the wedding, so she came up here. But for the majority of the time, we go down. I go down there. Sometimes I'll bring the dogs, so they come with us. Sometimes I don't. But the first couple weeks it was okay, because for her it was exciting. She has a new job, and she's enjoying the big city.
Now reality's set again.
Well, now it's getting during the week I stay at home and watch TV by myself all night long.
Yeah.
Or me, I'm taking an online class right now, and so I spend time doing that, and then by the time I get done with the day, it's 9:30, and then I go to sleep, and it is hard, and we're a little different because we have been in a relationship for 7 years. So for us, it's an expectation of that we're okay, we love each other. There wouldn't be the same thing that you were enduring, where I don't know where this relationship is going. This could be a relationship. This could be just fun. This could be nothing serious, and trying to determine, is it worth the distance?
Exactly. And that's always the moment. Like you have to find that out. You have to figure that out when you meet someone from a long distance, and you want to see where it goes. You have to have that moment where it's like, all right, is this what I want it to be? Is this going to go where I want it to go? And if it has that, then you have to pursue it by all means. Your situation is you're trying to find a job down there at some point, I'm sure. I'm going to stop here at 8:38 just because I don't know who's going to listen. Yeah. So at this point, I'll just put 8:38. 8:38. Let me rephrase the question, counselor. Noreen's down in Phoenix, and you're up here. And at some point, let's be honest, it can't last forever in this long distance thing. It's nice having 2.5, 3 days together, because during the work week, you're right, you mostly come home and veg on the couch, do whatever. It's not that big a deal. But at some point, you want to be with that person, your person, every day, every night.
Yeah, and with the current job, she is on a probation period, so it is always possible that it may not turn out, and she may move back here and everything's back to normal. I don't think so. I think it's going to be something pretty permanent. I've got a good job here, so one of the things that we talked about, and I think that we. Obviously, for those of you who love my lists, I do have a list available if we need it. But one of the things that I think that we have come into kind of an understanding about is, what's the end game? Like you said, what's our end game? Because our end game is obviously we are together, and this may be just a temporary thing. Yeah. Or it might turn into something where it might be a year. One of the things when there was a time maybe 4 or 5 years ago where I was contemplating going into consulting work. Well, with the consulting work, you travel through the week, and then you're
home on the weekends.
Kind of a long distance relationship in a sense. So no,
essentially you're doing the same thing you're doing right now. You're consulting, even though you're getting the steady paycheck.
I'm consulting at my full-time job.
Yeah,
and then she is consulting.
Then again, aren't we all in that position?
Her full-time job. So, and our friend, was this your first long-distance relationship?
Yes.
Okay. I had a long-distance relationship with my first wife. She was in Seattle. I was in Denver right after I graduated college. And we talked all the time, and we came to that point.
That was back during long distance
there was
phones
no Skype.
And all that. There was no Skype. There was no video chatting.
It was just calling on the phone, writing letters, if you can believe that. We wrote cards and stuff. We would send care packages where we would record a cassette tape.
Ooh. Did you make a mixtape?
Yeah, kind of. Oh. What I would do is I'd say something and then play a song on it, and then I'd say something else, or I'd read poetry, and then I'd say a song on it. Yeah, talk about dating myself. But nowadays it's so much easier to meet someone long distance. So I think that the people who are kind of growing into it are kind of at a point where they're more used to it. Like, yeah. I have a suspicion that most young people out there, younger people, younger than me, probably look at these kind of relationships not with the same kind of fear as I did, because, hey, it's one of those things where it happens. It happens all the time.
Oh,
I meet people and I talk to them. And for those of you who have ever done a long distance relationship, go ahead and hit us up on our Facebook page at Liquid Kernedge. Tell us about your story, or if you agree or disagree with what we're talking about. We'd love to hear from you.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the funny thing is, when I was in it, it really wasn't much different. It was really trying to find what's the way to say it? It's trying to find that connection when you're so far apart. Because the woman I was with at that point, she traveled a lot for work too, so she was always somewhere in the country, like during the work week. So it really wasn't that big of a deal for her, because she would come home and either drive up here, or I would go down there and meet her when she gets off work. But we would do the same thing. I mean, we would FaceTime every night, to talk, and we would send each other songs and playlists to listen to. And I remember I sent the first song I sent her to was a song by Hailstorm. That was very personal to me, and then she sent me a song by Steel Magnolias. That was very personal to her, and I still, like, to this day. We broke up a while ago. I can't listen to either song without having that moment. And there's always that person. There's always those, like, little things that you can't. You never. I don't want to say you never let go of, but always kind of get you in the back of the craw. Like, oh, I can't listen to the song. I don't want to listen to the song anymore.
Well, let's talk about it, because everyone's been in a long-distance relationship. Yeah. So let's break it down in a couple questions. So what would you say are the couple things that you used to love about a long-distance relationship?
I love the excitement. Like, I love the fact that either Thursday or Friday was coming around, and I knew I was going down there, or she was coming up here, and we had plans. Man, this is what we were going to do. We were going to go here. We were going to go there. We were going to do so many things. We had like literally a day and a half together, 2 days together of, like, full, like, time, and you had to, like, cram as much as you could into there. And it was fun. It was fun, man. It was so cool. But then there's that shitty part when it's it's the end of the weekend. You have to make that 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive home. Yeah. And fuck. And then you're driving home, and you're thinking about all the fun you had, and then you realize that you have all this stuff ahead of you this work week, and then you start wondering, like, well, fuck, man, how does this ever change? How does this ever change? What do we do? Like, how does this become something more permanent? If it becomes permanent, how do you make it work? All these things come into play, and you start mind fucking yourself. Is the bottom line.
Well, and I think the thing for me that I'm enjoying about the being in a long distance relationship as it is when I go down there, I feel like I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on vacation. If we do nothing one day and just lie around, watch TV, or she's in an apartment down there, and she has a really nice pool down there. So one day we just standing at the pool all day. Well, sometimes the change of pace of, I don't have to do laundry today, and I don't have to do all the things.
And I think that's
grocery
what helps.
shopping. It's like a vacation from being day to day with someone in a relationship. It's kind of a nice feeling. It's kind of neat.
And I'll openly admit that vacation period with that person makes you appreciate the real life issues and situations with that person too. Because once you get in those situations, and we did. Once she moved up here, and once we did everything together, it made you appreciate the real life situations all the more, because now you weren't sitting at home by yourself on a random Tuesday night. You had someone to be with, and you had someone to handle life with and talk about your day with, not over a screen but actually face to face. And that goes a long way.
Now, I would say one of the negatives about being in a long distance relationship for me is I'm not a jealous person. But sometimes I get frustrated, like, you get to do all these fun, exciting new things in this new town.
Exactly.
And I'm not here.
You're
with
not there.
you.
You're stuck recording a podcast with your podcast partner.
Well, that part's not a problem, but it's more of just the excitement of you get to do all these fun things in your town, and I am in our old town. I think that for me, that's kind of one of the things I'm not liking about the relationship. Like, she'll call and say, I went to this brand new restaurant that has this great Guatemalan food, and it was so much fun. It had a great atmosphere.
Guatemalan food does sound delicious.
And
right
I'm
now.
sitting there like, okay, I'm going to go to one of my 5 Subways or one of my 3 McDonald's again. So that's the one thing of the long distance relationship that has been a little tough for me, is that she's enjoying all these new experiences, and I don't get to enjoy those with her.
But in retrospect, knowing the life you lived prior and knowing the life she lived prior, is it that big of a deal? 'Cause you've done a lot of cool things before. So I don't want to say you've been there, done that, but it's almost her time to kind of spread her wings and explore too a little bit on her own, and know that she's coming back to you.
Well, and I'm not a jealous person, so I don't think that she's doing something down there that she shouldn't be doing, or I don't think that she's seeing people that she shouldn't see. I mean, I don't have those kind of issues. Do you think that even factors into some people when they have a long-term relationship of,
absolutely.
Will the person, is the person being faithful to me? Do I have to worry about them if I call them at 9:30 and they're not there? What are they doing?
It is a long distance is no different than a same community relationship. You have to have full trust in the person and full trust in yourself.
I don't know, man. I mean, I would say this: someone in the same town.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it would be a lot harder for you to, not that you would do something bad, but it would put a lot less stress on your partner's mind that you're doing something you shouldn't be doing when they're here in the town. Where are you? I'm at home. You're not here. What's going on?
Yeah.
Versus if they're on a long distance relationship, you don't know where they are.
No, that's true.
I don't know where Noreen is right now. I'm assuming that she's working out or doing something, but I could be totally wrong. She could be having drinks with guys and girls that are from her work, or she could be going and doing all kinds of things. I wonder if people play that in their mind, like, that's what I don't like about long distance relationships.
Here's the thing about, and this is the worst part about it, is we are our own worst enemies.
We put it in our own mind.
We do. You create your own hell. You literally create your own hell. If they don't pick up the phone right fast enough, if they don't return a text fast enough, if they're not available on FaceTime, they told you they're doing this, they can't call you till later. Your mind still goes, and it goes, and it goes, and it goes. You have to love yourself enough and trust yourself enough to sit back and say, you know what? Hold on. No, she is doing this. I trust it. It's fine. That's the only way it's really going to work.
Well, but let's be honest. There are plenty of people out there who don't have the calm, cool, collected minds that we have, where we don't worry about those things.
And I will openly admit, there were times like I don't have that calm, cool, collected mind.
I don't know where you're at. I'm about ready to kill someone. I don't know what's going on.
Absolutely.
You haven't called me in an hour and a half.
But when she called, hey, baby, what are you doing? No, I'm just chilling, relaxing. No big deal.
Yeah, she doesn't have to know that I don't know what's going on.
You don't need to see the kind of crazy going on up in here for while I'm trying to figure out to make sure you're not dead in a ditch somewhere. But it's cool.
Man.
It's cool.
Yeah. What do you think is the point in a relationship that's long distance where you have to decide, okay, am I ready to move? And if I am ready to move, are they going to move to where I am, or am I going to move to where they are?
You know, it's funny. The friend that we have that has that boyfriend down in Phoenix now, and I kind of had the conversation with her this week. I was like, so I know it's early, and I don't want to piss in your Cheerios.
You don't want to jinx anything.
I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to rain in your parade. But I'm only asking this and saying this because I've been in your position. What are you going to do if it comes to that? If things go really well and you and this guy hit it off, and we'll say in 9 months and this guy's a teacher, in 9 months school's out, you guys have been commuting back and forth every weekend. You've met his family, he's met yours. It's true love. What are you going to do? He's got a good job. You've got a good job. What's the situation going to be? Like, are you prepared to pick up and move? You know, like, honest to God, these are things I know you don't want to think about them right now, but you have to sit back and calculate this almost and be, I don't want to say, well, I said calculating. You have to be calculating, like what's best? Is this going to go somewhere? If this does, are you willing to take that risk?
Like in your situation, like, because that's an important point. I mean, you have a career. The girl that you were with had a career. One of you is going to have to make a decision about which career we were going to give up and start a new career.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things that play though.
Yeah.
How long do you go in a relationship before you make
absolutely.
that termination? You know, who wants, you know, who has more options to go to?
And I'll say mine, you know, she definitely had more options. And I will openly say that I spent probably 6 months trying to figure out how to get down to Phoenix. I applied at every job I could. I switched my resume to where it had her address so people would think I lived down there. I did everything I could. And then finally she got fed up with her job. And so, you know, I kind of want to do my own thing. So she moved up here and started her own company.
Oh.
So
okay, so that was a little easier for her.
It was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
A little bit easier.
Yeah,
at
like
that point.
Noreen, when she left her former employer here in Kingman, she left for reasons that were more for like, I have to take care of some family issues and stuff like that. But she knew at some point she was going to have to start looking. Yeah. And she knew that chances are it was either going to have to be in Las Vegas or in Phoenix, because she didn't want to move too far away from her family. So
I
we at least had that going for us, is that I'm either going to make a 2.5 hour drive to Phoenix, or I'm going to make an 1.5 hour drive to Las Vegas. I don't have to.
And at that point, what's the hour?
So
exactly.
I have to admit that makes a big difference too. If she moved to New York,
oh no, it'd be a problem.
There might be a bigger distance of the long distance.
It's a huge deal. Listen, you know,
like, have you ever heard of these people that do this online dating and they meet someone in like England or overseas, and they try to do a long-term relationship like that? I mean, now, would it be fun to say, "Hey, babe, I'm coming to England.
I'm coming to see you," yeah.
Or, "Hey, hello, babe, I'm coming to see you." But I mean, the distance probably plays a huge part in the distance in the relationship and how it goes forward.
You know, it's when I first started online dating. You know, my theory was, and I could be completely off base with this, and someone could say you're off base, but I thought I was very sound in thinking, you know what? What if that person I'm supposed to be with is somewhere else out in this world, and they're using the same, you know, dating site I am, what have you, and we meet, but they're in, we'll just say, New York City. Is it dumb for me to cast that out there and see what happens? Could we not figure that out? I mean, what? Who's to say?
I wonder when you do it that way, how difficult is it to find out what you're really getting with a person? Yeah. You know, one of the things I said earlier was one of the things I'm enjoying about the long distance relationship right now is that when we go down there, I feel like I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
You know, when she moved to this new area, she has an opportunity to be a totally different person if she wants to. You know, different mindset.
Well, you can reinvent yourself.
And being in the big city,
absolutely.
Being in the big city, there's just things you're going to do that you wouldn't do in the small town. So, you know, when you're talking about that kind of like New York City, how well can we get into knowing what a person's like to even make a choice to say, I'm going to move to you or you're going to move to me? I mean, there's so many things with the further the distance, the further the challenge.
It's huge. It's a very much a, you know, you have to sit down and you have those, I call them RDTs, relationship defining talks.
Yeah.
And you have
kind of like, are we Facebook official?
Facebook official? You know, you have to have that. All right, we're official. If this is going to go somewhere, which we both think it can, one of us has to take that plunge. One of us has to make that move. One of us has to figure out that we're okay uprooting our life so the other one can thrive. And when that happens, you have to go all in, man. There's no other way around it. And
that's just a scary proposition.
It is. And I would love to sit here and tell you that I had all this figured out when I did it, but I didn't, man. And ultimately, long term, that's probably some of the things that led to us not working out, years down the road. But you have to be able to sit there and look at that person and say, I want to be able to tell you everything and figure everything out so we can make this best decision, because you uprooted your life for me. So I need to be able to give you everything that you need to be able to thrive in your world. So you tell me what you need, and that leads to a whole nother conversation,
Well, back in the day, you're probably too young. Some of our listeners are probably too young, but they used to have pen pals. Remember pen pals? Where all you had of someone, all you had to go off of was a letter or what they wrote.
Oh, yeah.
And some of these people, like, when they went to war, someone, Jane Smith wrote to Bob Allen overseas to keep him going through World War II or whatever. And then they came back, got married, and they're 65 years later, they're still married.
Right.
So maybe we make this too complicated.
I think we do. I think we do.
Yeah, I know our friend. I love our friend. I will say that looking at our friend that weekend of the wedding, I have never seen our friend so happy.
I agree.
I
agree.
Like, I don't want to say glowing because that's such a cliche, but that sense of, I have not a care in the world. I am at peace with everywhere I need to be and want to be and who I want to be with. And to see someone look like that and feel like that, it is another hopeful. Weddings are that hopeful, like, with this divorce rate is so high, but we were at a wedding where we saw these two people are going to make it. Yeah. And when I saw her, our friend,
I had that same look.
With that look, like,
same look.
Wow, this is exciting. So it made me think, you know what? If with a long distance relationship, as long as the two people can work through it and talk through it and get through it, nothing can stop them.
And I told her that earlier. I a few days later after the wedding, I saw her at work and I said, "Hey, man, you looked happy." And that dude took a lot of fire because he met the family, he met close friends,
he seemed like a pretty straight shooter.
He was a straight shooter, and he handled everybody perfectly. And it wasn't like, well, he could have done this better. Like, he took, like, your drunk friends who are trying to give this guy a hard time.
He did.
And there were people trying to give him a hard time.
For those of you listening, you know who you are, buddy. You did good, man.
Yeah,
you did good.
And he did it beautifully. And I looked at her friend, and after the long weekend, I said, "Listen, if this works out, you got to go." People might not like that answer, but long term for you, it's better for you to go. And she didn't say yes, she didn't say no, but she could see that she kind of had that look of relief that somebody would at least understand, that she had to follow her own place at that point,
So obviously I have a list, and I don't think we're going to have to get into the list because we've kind of hit into a lot of it, but they have a list of the top 20 things you can do in a long-distance relationship. Mm-hmm. The first five things all talk about communication.
Absolutely.
And defining what you need from communication. Does it need to call every day? Do you need to Skype? How often do you need to talk to someone? When is it okay not to call someone and be okay that nothing's happened?
Even a simple text is like, "Hey, just thinking about you."
Yeah.
That goes so, any relationship that goes so far.
The day
it goes so far. Like, "Hey, thinking about you, hope it's going great." Yeah. The invention of texting and emojis is a lifesaver.
Well, and Skype,
Absolutely.
FaceTime. I mean, it is kind of nice because I don't FaceTime every night, but every couple days I just want to see her just for a second. Just say, I'm thinking about you.
I miss
love you. You look great. And there are times when I look like dog crap. Most of the time I look like dog crap, but she says, "Oh man, it's so good to see you," and it does make you feel good. And when you can see them, it kind of takes away some of the distance.
It reminds you what love is. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. It's no matter what, and that's the important thing.
Yeah. Well, and for us, I mean, we've been together over 7 years now, so there's not a lot of secrets. We don't have anything that
you have it all right there.
So for us, it is kind of a reestablishment of. I'm not seeing you. I don't see you every day, but you're thought of every day, and I am still attracted to you every day, and that
it goes a long way.
Those parts make the relationship long distance not as painful as it could be.
Well, just to wrap everything up, I think we covered a lot of ground. Maybe we talked ourselves in circles some here tonight, but I think it was a good conversation for us to talk about, some of the pitfalls of long distance relationships and some of the the happy stories from it. It's not all good, but it's not all bad.
Would you, if someone was listening and never been in one, would you what would you tell someone who said, what, I'm kind of debating on whether or not to start a long distance relationship?
I would honestly tell you, it is, if you meet the right person, it is the hardest thing, but the best thing you could ever do. I will never regret it. I will never regret it. I can honestly say in my 36 years of existence, that led to my most impactful relationship ever. So if you have the opportunity to meet somebody that can change your life like that, you run with it. You go.
Well, would you do it again?
In that scenario?
No, I'm just saying.
Or just again.
I mean, would you be open to doing it again if you decided to get back into the dating game and you said, well, chances are I'm probably going to have to date people who don't live in the area? Would you do it again?
I will never say never. If I could go back to the old one again, absolutely in a heartbeat. I wouldn't change a thing. If I had to go back and do it again, man, I don't know. I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you unequivocally that I would jump back in there and do it again. I know what it takes, and you have to meet that right person. And until you meet that person, you don't know what you're capable of, Yeah. And that's the thing. So give us your thoughts.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there that probably are on dating sites or looking about doing this, and hopefully this kind of gave you some thoughts to live by or some thoughts to think about.
Find us on the Twitter. Find us on the Instagram, Facebook, at Liquid Kernedge. We want to hear your thoughts. Go ahead, just shoot us something. Tell us what you're thinking. If you're thinking about doing this, if you want to do this, you want some advice, well, I'm happy to throw my 2 cents in there. I've never shied away from that. I'm sure Jason can too. Let us know.
I just want to say in closing that I think that I am happy for our friend. I think that they sure seem like they're on a good start to, if they're going to have to be a long distance relationship for a little bit, they seem like they're on a good path for it. Obviously, we at Liquid Kernedge just want to wish everyone love. Find the right woman, find the right man in your life. If they happen to be in New York City and they make you do the things that make you be a better person, then, for all intents and purposes, go for it. Love openly with your heart and your mind. That's all we can ask for,
On a side note, not to change the subject, but to close this show out, and this is going to be a surprise to you, but I do want to thank our new executive producer of the show, for all of his time and input to what he's done. My brother Tom is to Liquid Kernedge what Dick Wolf is to Law and Order, any of them. He gives us feedback promptly on Thursdays about what we did right, what we did wrong. He says he's always going to quit listening to us, but every Thursday, like religion, he tells us where we fucked up and how we could be better.
And I you know what? I'm really glad you put that out there because he is our executive producer. We will go down to Phoenix and we will record an episode with him.
Yes.
And frankly, we might put it out, Tom, it's your choice. You choose the topic, whatever topic.
We will talk about whatever you want.
Because there have been some topics that he has said, dude, this almost makes me want to not listen to you guys anymore.
Exactly. You pick the topic. We will be down there in the next weeks. We are early September. We're mid-September by now.
Yeah,
it's mid-September.
We're going to be in the mid to late September by the time this releases. So, but yeah, no, I think that's very appropriate. Tom, we love you. It's definitely appreciated. Even when you want to punch me in the throat, it's appreciated. It's definitely appreciated. We appreciate all of our listeners, so I don't want anyone to think like we don't appreciate you listening.
No, but he gives us feedback religiously, so that's how you get promoted.
Yeah, he definitely got promoted. JP out, yeah, Tom Kern in.
We've gone from having interns to now we have an executive producer. And by the way, Tom, surprise. I didn't tell you about this, but you're welcome.
I want to see what the note is on this
exactly, one. Exactly, like you motherfuckers. And on that note, I'm Scott.
I'm Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Kernedge.